Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube, here to do another Dark Shadows video for you guys and gals. I'm here to talk Barnabas Collins. Now, I've done character retrospectives before, and is this what that is? In every way, yes. And this video is about Barnabas after he gets out the coffin in 1967. And before you learn about his origin story, if you will, that happens in this 1795 story. And you might say, well, what's the difference about that? So, to be clear, the biggest difference I would say is when you first meet the man himself, Barnabas Collins, you really meet and are introduced to him by the end of episode 211. Meaning, now you don't know much about him, but you do know one thing for sure. If you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of gothic material, if you've watched enough vampire movies, you know one thing when Barnabas knocks on that door and he comes through the door and you see Jonathan Frid. This man's a vampire. To be clear, the Dark Shadows writers, producer, they're not, this is not a mystery. This is not who is the vampire, in my opinion, and it never was. Um, Again, though, I will admit, as a young man, because at the time I watched Dark Shadows, I was 13. I was 13 years old when I first watched DS. 13, 14, if you will. Keep in mind this, that I knew instantly, okay, this dude's a vampire. Come on, what else is he? Um, but there's little things you learn along the way. Okay, so if you want, for example, if you want the release of Barnabas Collins, if you want him out of the coffin, you're starting at 211. If you want to know how he gets out, you're starting before that. You're starting, let's say, 205, 206. So you know about a little more about Willie Loomis. If you want just Willie Loomis accidentally discovering the secret room, and yes, it was an accident, you want episode 210 and forward. Like, if you don't want any of the, if you really don't want too much of the backstory of Willie finding the mausoleum, you just start at 210. And him being in the mausoleum, opening the secret room, and by the end of 210, beginning of 211, you're getting the opening of, you're not just end of 210, you get him taking off the chains, opening the coffin. There's the hand on the throat, right? 211, hand on throat, Barnabas is out of the coffin. Our buddy Barnabas has been rudely awakened, if you will, by Willie Loomis, a thief. So, from a history standpoint, what I know as a fan and what most DS fans know, or all DS fans know, is, when you learned about Barnabas, you would learn that he did not expect to be awakened. He did not expect to be here. You might say, what do I mean by that? Very simply, he expected to be dead. And I don't mean undead. I don't mean a vampire. he expected his father Joshua, who was the hardest SOB, the Joshua Collins, Barnabas's dad, was not a nice man. He was a very he was a very cold-hearted bastard. And I mean that in the best way possible of this. If you were to ask anybody to do you in, this would be the guy you would go to. You know, if you were to ask somebody, hey, make sure I don't ever wake up again, Joshua would be your guy. I'm not saying Joshua is a cold-blooded serial killer, but Joshua is a cold-blooded man in a lot of ways. So, because when Joshua Collins gave you his word, you best believe he generally followed through with it. And this would be one time he did not. He did not put a silver bullet in his son's head. He did not put a stake in his son's heart. He chained his son up in a coffin that, Barnabas himself already knew he was laying in. So, our buddy Barnabas, does Barnabas know he's in the future? Does he know he's in 1967? Is he conflating or confusing 1967 with 1795? Yes and no. So, who does Barnabas first meet? Willie. Not Elizabeth. Willie opens his coffin. So he's looking at a man he does not know, whose hand Barnabas's hand is around his throat. He drinks some blood from Willie's wrist. He doesn't bite Willie on the neck. And he asked Willie a ton of questions. Now, we don't get to see that part in the show. We don't get to see the questioning of Willie Loomis by Barnabas. If you want sort of that view of that, though, may I recommend House of Dark Shadows a bit? Because there is a scene in I think it's in a Blue Whale or a restaurant or bar, where Willie Loomis is sitting down with Barnabas, telling him things. So if you want sort of that conversation that you never saw in the series, watch House of Dark Shadows. With this, there's things you're just not going to get, and that's fine. I have no issue with it at all. So, when I say Barnabas is sort of conflating the two a bit, what do I mean? Okay. Maggie Evans, does Maggie Evans actually look like Josette? Now, if we've all seen 1795, we know that answer is yes. Okay. Now, if you've never watched the show Dark Shadows, if you've never seen this show, let me explain something to you. Okay, the ghost to Josette debuts long before Barnabas ever does. How the ghost to Josette is mentioned well before. The ghost of Josette is first mentioned in episode 5 of Dark Shadows. 5. Now, the ghost of Josette comes out of her portrait in episode 70 or something, somewhere in the 70s. So keep in mind of this one thing. You're being told Maggie is kidnapped by Barnabas because she looks like Josette, right? Now, I've talked about stuff like this before in Dark Shadows, where there's no real build up to Angelique. There just isn't. There's one scene where there's a woman weeping in the mausoleum, and then there's a wicked woman laughing. That's it. That's the build up to Angelique. That's your first hint. Okay, what's going on here? That's your first. Well, it's your first big hint that something else is going on here. Your other hints, there are other hints, and I'll get back to it. Maggie Evans, played by Catherine Lee Scott. Is there a buildup that suggests Maggie looks like Josette? Meaning, is there anybody who looks at the portrait of Josette Dupre Collins, and says, "Hey, that looks like Maggie"? No. And by the way, Victoria Winters, Burke Devlin, Sam Evans, Maggie's dad, Maggie's own father, who sees the portrait of Josette. And for those who are going to say, well, Sam never saw it. Yes, Sam did see it. Sam saw it when the seance happened in the old house during the Phoenix arc. He saw it plain as day and didn't say shit. I'm not knocking Dark Shadows. In fact, the writers did the right thing by him not saying anything. And I'll get to why here in 1 second. David saw it. David has seen Maggie. Victoria sees Maggie pretty often. And she has seen that portrait enough. How she has seen Josette's ghost. Okay? So, by the way, Roger Collins has seen that portrait. He's been in the old house. He's seen that portrait. None of them look at Maggie and say, you know what, you kind of look like Josette a bit. There's never that build up. Now, our buddy Barnabas, prior to stalking Maggie Evans, because he doesn't actually meet her and start stalking her until episode 221. Yes, I wrote down episode numbers. Not every episode number, but I wrote down episode numbers. Because I wasn't going to try to forget anything. Before he does this, our buddy Willie Loomis is going... People are wondering about Willie, right? So eventually Willie's found, but he says he's being very evasive about answering questions. Eventually he just runs off. And this Barnabas Elizabeth has been talking to Barnabas. Roger talks to Barnabas. He has asked Elizabeth if he could live in the old house. The old house that is run down. The old house that looks like it's going to fall apart. Well, he says, I'll restore it to its former glory. He gives his word. So, him being a Collins, and yes, he is a Collins, they agree to do it. They say, okay, you can have it, Barnabas. Okay. All right. So, try to remember everything I'm going to say. It's not easy. Maggie. Okay, Maggie. What else was I going to say? Okay. Prior to 1795, right? Is Barnabas a complete heel? Now, I said he stalks and kidnaps Maggie Evans. Maggie Evans is finally taken away to the old house. Let's see. Episode 235. Episode 235. Maggie's taken away. Okay. Maggie escapes. 261, I think. So yeah. Is Barnabas a heel? And why do I forgive him for kidnapping Maggie Owens? You might say, you see, Joel, you're just a fan of horror. You're just trying to, there's no reason to forgive Barnabas. I've been talking about if Maggie looks like Josette, right? This is where I was gonna go. This will help me remember. The writers prior to this kidnapping have never mentioned if Maggie looks like Josette. No character on the show has mentioned this prior to this kidnapping, prior to this abduction, right? So, throughout the kidnapping, once the kidnapping takes place, and Barnabas starts making her dress like Josette, act like Josette, so he can bite her and turn her into a vampire bride himself. he keeps on, you're Josette, because to Barnabas, Maggie looks like Josette. But you, as an audience member, are going, well, does she? There's where I applaud the writers. Because you, as an audience member, prior to 1795, before seeing this story that's going to take place, are wondering, is Barnabas just crazy? Is Maggie really look like Josette to him? Because there's been no mention of that throughout the show. So you're sort of wondering, is this Barnabas just being a cruel vampire? Is he just pulling this cruel, sick game at Maggie? And he's just wrong? He's just mistaken somehow? Is he just confused? Because, okay, the Dark Shadows actors, Joan Bennett, who plays Elizabeth, Roger, who plays, or sorry, yeah, Roger plays Roger. I did that to myself. I did that to myself. Lewis Edmonds, who plays Roger Collins. See, I can laugh at myself. It's funny. Lewis Edmonds, who plays Roger Collins. David Hennessy, who plays David Collins. Joel Carruthers, who plays Joe Haskell. David Ford, who plays Sam Evans. I keep attempting to do it. Every actor you see in the 1967 storyline prior to 1795, all those actors are going to be in the 1795 storyline as other characters. Joan is going to play it. Joan Bennett is going to play Barnabas's mother. Lewis Edmonds is going to play Joshua Collins, Barnabas's dad. Oh, Naomi Collins, sorry. Naomi Collins is Barnabas's mother. David Hennessy he's not going to play David Collins. It's not Josh. Who is it? Daniel Collins, I think. So, Nancy Barrett, who plays Carolyn, is going to play Millicent. Joel Carruthers is going to play Lieutenant Forbes. So, yes, Mrs. Johnson's Clarice Blackburn, who plays Mrs. Johnson, is going to play Abigail Collins. So you get what I'm trying to say, that all the characters in 1967 storyline, for the most part, are going to play characters in 1795. Okay. So Barnabas could be suffering from a case of deja vu and just pure madness. I mean, the guy has been locked in a coffin for close to 200 years, right? Um, just has. And this he could be looking at the people of 1967 like, hey, they're the family from 1795, or at least they look like it. Right? He could be doing that. He is certainly looking at Maggie Evans like Josette. uh, Kathleen Lee Scott eventually escapes Barnabas with the help of Sarah, and this is also your first hint when they first start mentioning Sarah, a little girl playing out in the old house. Barnabas like, there hasn't been a little girl in this house in a long time. Barnabas knows there was a little girl once. Barnabas knows there was a little girl once upon a time, because that little girl was his sister Sarah. So the ghost of Sarah Collins helps Maggie eventually escape. This is another hint. Barnabas knows this is not 1795. Now, Maggie escapes, gets taken off the Windcliff. That's 261. Okay. Or sorry. 261. Maggie escapes. 275. Sorry. I think 275 is like Windcliff and stuff. I think. Don't hold that to me. I'm going to get. Oh, by the way, for the 1795 story, if you want the seance that leads us back, 365. If you just want specifically, go right to 1795, 366. Okay? Now, do the writers make Barnabas a full-on heel? I know why I write 275. I'm sorry. It's not Windcliff. I know why I wrote 275. Remember now. Sorry. Is Barnabas a full-on heel? No, he's not. And you might say, why do I say this? Why do I say he's not a full-on heel? Okay, number one, I've always felt the writers use Jonathan's real age of 41. And he's in his early 40s when he plays Barnabas. Barnabas is not a 20-year-old man when you meet him in 1795. He's not, because when Victoria meets Barnabas, she realizes this is an older guy. Elizabeth, she realizes, hey, he's younger than me, but not necessarily in his 20s. So this is not you're not meeting a 20-year-old man in 1967. You're just not. He's forever 40, right? Forever 41, if you will. Barnabas, I've talked about episode 210 a bit, 211. 212 is key. 212, when Barnabas is talking to Josette's portrait, you're learning some things. Number one, this man did not want to become a vampire. He did not ask to become this. Number two, there's an association with Josette, and he knew Josette. This is now the second person you're meeting that knew Josette. First one being the Phoenix. Now, that makes things very interesting because you know he knew Josette. So the kidnapping of Maggie Evans kind of answers the question. Okay, perhaps Maggie really did look like Josette. Yes, she did. Yes, Maggie looked like Josette. Okay, I was building some suspense with does Maggie look like Josette? The answer is yes. 212 is sort of that answer. So prior to 221, if you want that answer, listen to Barnabas's words at the portrait. Barnabas is looking directly at the portrait of Josette. Jonathan Frid does a great job. Super focused actor. So I've also said Barnabas is not a full-blown heel. Listen, guys, gals, fellow DS fans, I know Barnabas eventually kills Dr. Dave Woodard, played by Peter Turgeon. But that's not the first person he kills either. Okay? The first person Barnabas kills is Jason McGuire, a con artist, the man that brought Willie Loomis to Collinsport. You have two thieves, Jason and Willie. This is a very smart decision by the writers. This is one of the most important decisions by the writers, too. Okay, we got to give prior to Jason, they have given Barnabas no kills. He has no victims. None. He hasn't killed somebody innocent. But here, there's nothing innocent about Jason now, is there? No, there isn't. So they have Barnabas kill off Jason McGuire. Jason opens Barnabas's coffin in the basement. Jason gets strangled to death. It's a really smart decision because finally the real villain of Dark Shadows is killed off. Okay? Jason has been a heel this whole time. They kill him off. So is Barnabas manipulative? Of course he is. He's a vampire. Is he a bad person? In a sense, yes. As much fun as I'm having, Barnabas can be very cruel. Again, great antagonists aren't always about physical violence. They're about the psychological as well. And they do that. Jonathan does a very, very great job playing a vampire. I will go to my grave telling you the best television vampire I ever saw. Ever was Jonathan. So now the seance to 1795, why does it happen? Okay, I'm going to get into 1795. I know this has been a long video, so I apologize. David, this is why Barnabas has been antagonizing David. He's been driving him crazy. Young David Collins. David, who's friends with Sarah. Sarah is getting fed up with Barnabas doing the things he's doing. Sarah pays her brother a visit and tells him, you have to be good, Barnabas. You have to be good. You have to learn to be good again. You can't be evil no more. Now, the seance 365, Dr. Hoffman is not aligned with Barnabas anymore. She's the one who suggests the seance. They're going to perform a seance to contact the ghost of Sarah. To be clear, none of these characters know this is going to happen. That basically time's going to stop and Victoria Winters is going to get hurled back in 1795. Nobody knows that's going to happen from a character standpoint. So that being said, now 366, Vicky sees the old house. It looks brand new. Oh, kind of is. It sort of is. The great house is still being built. What you get now, what is the 1795 story of Barnabas? It's an origin story. Now, to be clear, it's not, you don't get Barnabas's childhood. Why would you? You don't need it. And by the way, the first 1795 character you're introduced to is Barnabas as a human. He's no longer a vampire. You see him during the daylight. He answers the door. Well, Sarah and then Barnabas. Sorry. So, Barnabas is coming out the old house, and Victoria says, Barnabas. And he's like, do I know you? And Vicky chalks it up that Barnabas is playing a joke on him. And he goes, no, I'm not playing a joke on you. I don't know who you are, because the 1795 Barnabas would not know the 1967 Victoria Winters. This is another big difference between the past Barnabas and the present Barnabas. This is going to give the writers a lot of fun and a lot of wiggle room to do some really cool stuff with Barnabas. By the way, I've talked about this before, and I know I use a lot of wrestling terminology. So, at the time, Victoria Winters is the biggest babyface in Dark Shadows. She is. She's been our protagonist this whole time. Now, what the writers are going to do, they're going to take the current biggest protagonist and have her put over a new protagonist in Barnabas Collins, a new good guy, a new baby face. Because the writers are going to turn Barnabas babyface. They're going to, the old school logic of wrestling from even the days of the circus is the bigger the heel, the better the babyface. And vice versa. The bigger the babyface, the better the heel. That has been, and really, that's every soap opera since the dawn of its existence. That's every TV show you've ever watched. Ever. Think of every show that had a villain. Think of every show that's had a big protagonist. What happens when they get turned? You're slowly either rooting for them or you're slowly rooting against them because the writers have planted seeds to do so. And so have the actor. You'll hear the writers did not know where they were taking Barnabas. Here's where I disagree with this a bit. You want to know, I think, what the writers kind of figured? Let's not completely make this guy an asshole. Because if you do, or at least they had in mind of, okay, we need to keep, There's this little area called Shades of Gray. 1967 Barnabas, I'm not saying he doesn't antagonize, he does, but he also has those shades of gray moments that are very much there. Talking to Josette's portrait, listening to Willie Loomis when Willie Loomis says, "We can't kill Maggie." Just a couple episodes prior to that, Barnabas beat the shit out of Willie Loomis. So does Barnabas have to listen to Willie Loomis? No, he's shown that very much, that he doesn't have to listen to a damn thing Willie says. I know I jumped back from 1795, but I wanted to make this points. 1795, they're going to show Barnabas as a human being. They're going to show you who turned Barnabas as a vampire and how he became it. Enter Angelique, Laura Parker. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Beautiful woman. Very, very beautiful woman. Blonde bombshell. Absolutely. Here's Laura Parker was in her 20s. Okay. You have a woman who knows what she's doing. And a little behind the scenes, when she was rehearsing with Jonathan, she was crying. Jonathan Frid told her during rehearsal, "Didn't they tell you she's a witch?" Meaning witches don't cry, is the whole folklore thing. Laura Parker said, "Okay, I didn't know that, but now she did. She didn't do it no more. So the next time they rehearsed, she didn't cry." So that's a little behind the scenes there. Now, in front of the camera, Laura Parker's Angelique is a servant. She works for the Dupre family, Josette's family. You learn one thing very fast. In one episode, they get the character of Angelique over. You understand this woman knew Barnabas prior to being engaged to Josette. You learn that Angelique and Barnabas were in an intimate relationship, meaning they had sex. Okay. You learn that it was not one-sided, because okay. But you also learn Angelique is not some normal woman. Oh, no. Angelique is a witch. And she's mad. She is not happy Barnabas is not choosing her. Because to her, and this is very much a great character to have, Angelique is in love. Angelique, she may not cry over Barnabas, but she's going to make sure, damn sure, no other woman has Barnabas but her. That's what kind of story you're going into. And it's a great story. So, Angelique cast many spells. She has it where Jeremiah and Josette fall in love. She puts a spell on Jeremiah. She puts a spell on Josette. And they run off, and she puts like this little pin on her, and they run off together and they get married. This is all because of Angelique. Now, you might say, well, Angelique's a witch, right? Yes, but Angelique isn't psychic. Okay. She can't foresee certain things. Okay. There are certain things even Angelique can't anticipate, which this is where you sort of appreciate the character, the woman playing the character and the character herself. She can't foresee Barnabas challenging Jeremiah to a duel. This is a very human error thing. We could talk about witchcraft all you want. I'm not going to. I'm talking about human error. Angelique commits human error. And by the way, so does Barnabas, even as a vampire. It's what makes these characters so goddamn relatable. Because even though you have magic powers, guess what? You're still prone to mistakes. it's it's what makes any television character relatable. Because we're all human beings. We all make mistakes. Every one of us. It happens. It's a part of life, right? Okay? It just is. Now, you have this woman who has not foreseen this duel coming. She knows Barnabas is in trouble. She knows Barnabas is not exactly the best shot in the world. Now, how does she know this? She's probably seen him shoot a gun. Sometime in their life, Angelique has seen Barnabas shoot a pistol. And she wasn't impressed by it. Or maybe she was, who knows. She puts a spell, not on Jeremiah. She puts a spell on Barnabas to a spell of protection, protecting him from the duel. Barnabas kills Jeremiah in the duel. So Josette now hates Barnabas. Josette wants nothing to do with Barnabas. Angelique makes Sarah sick. And she says to Barnabas, if I could cure Sarah, will you marry me? You learn another big thing about Barnabas. He is a man of his word. When Barnabas gives his word, he will do it, right or wrong. Whether you as an audience member feel it's right or wrong is not the point. You're learning, okay, for all this guy's mistakes, he keeps his word. And men of that era generally did. So he tells Angelique, yes, if you can cure my sister, I will marry you. And guess what, folks? Guess what? Barnabas and Angelique tie the knot. They get married in the old house. Joshua, the stubborn old man he's against it. Of course he's against it. She's a servant after all. It's part of the story. I love Joan Bennett's Naomi for this, though. This is a great scene where Naomi gives Barnabas and Angelique the old house as a wedding present. She gives them a house. When Victoria Winters is hiding in the old house to evade Trask, the witch hunter, Angelique casts another spell. Barnabas overhears Angelique performing the spell. And Barnabas is starting to believe his wife is a witch. So he wants to put two and two together. Is she? He goes to Ben. He goes, Ben tells him, I can't speak the witch's name. She put a spell on me, which is true. Angelique did recruit Ben's services and cast a spell. You'll never be able to say my name. You'll never be able to implicate me verbally as a witch. Great acting, by the way, by Sarah David and Laura Parker. Their chemistry was so good. Laura and Jonathan's, too. Great chemistry. You have Ben, who is who's in a little jail cell, and he says, write her name. I taught you how to write her name. And at first, the way they do this, he puts a V. He says, and Barnabas says V for Victoria Winters. And then you see the line go across. Barnabas does not believe Victoria Winters is the witch, by the way. Once he sees that A, he kind of knows. Okay. All right. Angelique has done all this. Angelique has caused Victoria Winters to go to trial for being a witch. Angelique has caused the duel to happen. It's all a woman's fault, right? Basically, that's what it's all Angelique's fault. Not all of it. I mean, Barnabas, you made love to this woman at one point in time. You don't think any of this is your fault at all? No. It's you deserve at least 60 to 65% of the blame here, bud. I love Barnabas to death. Angelique deserves the rest for her decisions. And by the way, the reason I give Barnabas the majority of the blame here is another reason. There's no spell cast when Barnabas kisses Angelique in her servants' quarters. It happens. There's no spell cast. The two of them kiss as consensual adults. There's no spell. There's no spell casting. You can tell these two are in love with one another. You can tell there has been something between them. And there still is something between them as characters. It's really well done. So I think so sorry, this is dragging along. I apologize. Barnabas discovers Angelique's a witch. He tries to stab her. She stops him with her powers. She goes, how dare you? She's letting them know, how dare you? How dare you? And she goes, I could cause so much trouble. I could hurt your family. She's basically threatening him. And now Barnabas has to figure out a way to coexist with a witch who he married, of the woman he married, who's a witch. And so Barnabas gets out the dueling pistols. And he figures, okay, I can't stab her. I'm just going to shoot her, right? And because Barnabas tells her, I don't want to be with you. You're this witch. You've done all this stuff, pretty underhanded. Yeah, Barnabas, you haven't done anything wrong, right? No, he has. You haven't given signals that you love this woman. Yes, you did. You went to this woman's room and you kissed her while engaged to another woman. Okay, this is, as a man, I am saying this is a man's fault too. This is not solely Angelique's fault. This is Barnabas's fault. I love Barnabas. So you have it on record in a YouTube video. A man is saying another man is to blame. You're welcome, women. You're welcome. Oh my God. So Barnabas gets Sarah's doll. She's driving pins into it. She goes, she'll start feeling pains here. So Angelique's trying to kill Sarah in a sense. Um, she's got a pen near the doll's heart, representing Sarah, Barnabas' sister. Barnabas grabs the flintlock and shoots Angelique in the shoulder. Now, if this were Solomon Kane, we would not be having this discussion. Angelique would be dead. Barnabas probably would too for marrying a witch. Solomon might shoot Barnabas for marrying a witch. He might. Wouldn't put it past him. Would you? I wouldn't. Because to be clear, I talked about the kiss, right? And I'll go back. This will be the last time I go back to it. There's no bewitchment. Angelique is not bewitching Barnabas to get that kiss. It's done because Barnabas is completely and utterly attracted and in love with Angelique. Okay? Now, this is one of the most legendary, if not the most legendary scene in Dark Shadows. Angelique curses Barnabas. You want your Josette, you'll have her, just not as you think. And curses him to be a vampire. Any woman you love, anybody you love will die by you. You'll kill them, Bat crashes through the window, bites Barnabas on the neck. Ben discovers the bodies. Ben discovers the bodies. Master Barnabas. Yeah, Master Barnabas is on the floor with Angelique. Angelique is alive. She only got hit in the shoulder. So that's how Barnabas becomes a vampire. And yes, the first person he officially strangles and murders is Angelique. Angelique gets strangled by Barnabas. She's not dead. She's coming back, by the way. So there is that. Dark Shadows is all about these supernatural creatures now. You have Barnabas, who's a vampire. So you learn a lot about Barnabas. He's a good man. He's a man of his word. He regrets the duel with Jeremiah. And pre 1795, you thought Barnabas hated Jeremiah. No, he hates himself. He hates himself for what he's done. Okay. Now, post 1795, does anything have to happen to complete the Barnabas babyface turn? Yes. Decisions in the future. And the biggest decision made is about Jeff Clark. When Barnabas chooses not to use Jeff Clark's face for Adam is one of the biggest decisions as a character Barnabas makes, because it lets you know that Barnabas is no longer making those evil decisions. Barnabas is no longer about committing acts of evil. Barnabas is going to commit acts of good. He's going to try to stop Angelique, who's now in the future as Cassandra. he's gonna try to stop Nicholas Blair, who's on Angelique's side. Angelique / Cassandra. Nicholas is a warlock. You have Frankenstein's monster and Adam. You have the dream curse going on. And that's the thing about post 1795 Barnabas. It's all about in a lot of ways, it's all about making different and better decisions with the character. More moral choices. And they're not done either. I mean, the writers are always having Barnabas make these big decisions in his life that are making you as an audience member root for him to do the right thing. And he tries again and again and again to do so. And he often does. He often makes it, he smashes the machine that's pulling Maggie's life force away. He'll smash a Leviathan altar box, the box. Again, there are a lot of decisions that get made for Barnabas in his favor as a babyface that make you root for him as that character. Now, if you've never seen Dark Shadows, you want to hear the best spoiler? You want to hear the best of all time? Barnabas admits he loves Angelique after all of it. Thanks. There you go. I've been here almost an hour. I'm sorry. So again, the writers, they're making Jonathan's character make better decisions, more moral decisions in his favor. Yes, there's things he has to do for Nicholas, but he's going to fight that tooth and nail. Julia is now going to be his ally. Carolyn is no longer under his control. And him and Dr. Julia Hoffman are going to fight the forces of evil to the best of their ability. Yes, Barnabas gets cured by Dr. Eric Lane's experiment, which is Adam, Frankenstein's monster. So Barnabas does get cured as a vampire, which brings back Cassandra, which brings back Angelique. I actually do like Laura Parker's dark-haired wig. I know I'm probably in the minority about that. Yeah, she looks better as a blonde. Yes. She plays by the way, they're going to make Angelique a vampire in the show, by the way, which is a little fun thing they do. Yeah, Barnabas is not your only vampire in the show. Angelique will become a vampire. Tom Jennings, Dirk Wilkins. Who's that woman that falls? Roxanne becomes a vampire. Roxanne, I can't sing worth a damn. So all right, I think I covered everything. I think hold my feet to the fire if I haven't. So Barnabas post 1795, it is a lot, he's still true to his human roots post 1795. But when you're watching pre 1795, understand this. Barnabas is slowly making decisions as a vampire that are affecting him in a way of, okay, here's a guy who's chasing Maggie through a tunnel. Okay, what can vampires do? Oh, they can teleport. He doesn't have to chase her. He's letting her escape. We're not talking about some normal, serial killer who can't teleport. Okay? Barnabas could teleport. Barnabas could teleport in front of her and just do her in. He doesn't. And yes, I know the writers write it that way. But from a character standpoint, he's letting Maggie escape. And I think that's another big decision moment too of the writers. Okay, we have to sort of, I think the writers are suggesting to the audience, okay, Barnabas is a vampire here. If he wanted to, he could easily take care of Maggie, but doesn't. And I do think that's a big decision, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I could be. I'm okay. I'm just a fan, guys. Just a fan. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. And God bless and take care. Have a good one.